Reserves. For what purpose does the gentlewoman from North Carolina seek recognition?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise in opposition to the amendment and claim time.
The gentlewoman is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members on both sides of the aisle want more transparency and accountability in post-secondary education, but that is not what this amendment accomplishes. This amendment is a Trojan horse for violating privacy rights of students through colleges and universities. Many of my colleagues who support this amendment are not completely informed or have thought through the implications of some of its provisions. This amendment would direct the federal government to create a data system that tracks every college student in America through their adult lives without their consent, without giving them the ability to opt out. This sounds more like a scheme like the Chinese Communist Party would manufacture than a bipartisan amendment to a bill meant to combat Chinese influence. Don't be fooled. This amendment might use words like security, but in reality, it puts the privacy of Americans at risk. Some of these federal agencies have already been hacked by Russian intelligence and fraudsters. Who's to say it won't happen again? I don't trust Foxxes in my hen house, and surely don't trust Washington bureaucrats with a database of the personal and private information of my children and grandchildren, or yours. And what will the Biden administration do with the tax records, Social Security information, and the private data of Americans? The answer is simply exert more control. This amendment isn't about transparency or accountability, but about giving Washington bureaucrats the ability to choose winners and losers among institutions of post-secondary education. For example, the Pell Grant provisions hurt Americans looking for alternative career pathways into the same colleges and universities that failed them in the first place, while blocking them from pursuing programs offered by career-focused schools simply based on their tax status. Even if these institutions can meet the 11 pages of arbitrary and prescriptive guardrails the amendment puts in place. This amendment does nothing to improve our broken system of post-secondary education. Instead, it exacerbates our skills gap and labor shortage and forces Americans to concede their privacy to an administration that looks more and more like the authoritarian regime we're supposedly trying to combat. I reserve the balance of my time.
The gentlewoman from